Alright, welcome back everybody to part 4 of my Demon Souls playthrough. So, big problem with this video actually is, for some reason, excuse me, the audio that I recorded for it just did not take. So, I'm essentially watching this video and re-recording it, re-recording the mic part, which is a problem because I don't exactly know or remember 100% what happens in this video aside from the broad strokes. So I'll essentially try to give a behind the scenes look at what's going on. So right now I'm essentially showing my armor changes, because as y'all can tell, this character has now switched back to my main character, Trig. Because, yeah, I spent just a few, a little bit more time making this character, like the character customization, and I kind of feel like I have to finish my first character first, like the other guy was really just built for recording purposes, and yeah, as y'all can tell by how I was playing, it was a little bit more reckless. I was using my healing items a lot more, so trying to keep this one a little bit more dialed in. I've now chosen to use a bastard sword, which is actually my preferred weapon. Like moving forward, and that's how it was in my original playthrough. So I'm a little bit more familiar with this skill set. It's been a while, but I like the style of that knight with the big weapon. So, hopefully this is going to be entertaining to watch. But here we are. We're fixing to go into the smithing grounds via the stone of the Digger King, or whatever it was. Anyway, now I did go through some of this as a blue phantom to kind of try to refamiliarize myself with the environment and everything. Never got to the boss area, and a lot of the guys that I was helping didn't quite seem to know 100% what was going on. So didn't really learn as much as I would have liked. I actually lost souls because we kept dying.
Souls. I trade fine goods for souls.
Like, people were just not managing their people's help so well. So yeah, ended up getting stuck at one point trying to help this guy who was just being so passive and so afraid of a black phantom that we ended up dying, and I've already used so much healing items, trying to keep him alive.
Don't you agree?
It just, yeah, it was not a fun time. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just step back to my OG character. I did make sure I wasn't going to pick up any items until I recorded, so at least if somebody was going to use this as a rough guide, then they can at least know where all the obvious spots are. I am by no means an expert, and this is not an expert run, so I figured it was better to at least get as much of the items as I can. Those guys are always annoying, but unfortunately I hadn't unlocked the way to get up there yet. But I really wanted to get that item, which is a very unfortunate one. I really wanted to make sure there was going to be commentary available for this video, because, yeah, I feel like Souls videos without commentary, they're very quiet. Like, the game is inherently slow and methodical, and harsh, and kind of just like watching someone, you know, play it quietly. It can get very boring, at least from my experience. Especially the way I play. Yeah, it's still taking me some time to remember the moveset with this bastard sword. And it is either because of my character, but it is moving a lot slower than, you know, the bastard swords I've worn or used in this game. So I don't know if it's because they were, you know, a little bit more like powerful weapons, well, a lot more powerful weapons, or my character was just advanced enough, but it was kind of interesting trying to get to learn these movesets again. And these minor dudes are tough. Like, they don't necessarily hit the hardest, even though that was a pretty good hit. But without any sort of magic reinforcement, as I came to learn later on, these guys were tough. Unless you get to backstab them, in which case it takes a huge chunk of their health. Which it should, because that's essentially why we backstab, right? Oof, this section is dark. Then again, I think this whole level is dark. Gonna have to make sure to really review the footage once we get to the Valley of the Defiler, because if there's a dark section in this game, that is definitely it. That's another weakness of the Bastard Sword, is it's a lot easier to hit walls. And then there's magic to our weapons. And look at that damage. Just cutting straight clean through them. Like a Sith Lord through initiates. Ooh, that sounds terrible. The thing I hate about dog enemies in this game is not necessarily the damage part of them, but the fact that they just take out a bunch of your stamina so they can overwhelm you easily. Okay, this fat official is annoying. And there goes my first death in this world. And I'm not counting the shit deaths that I got because of shit summoners. Yeah, I could have timed that a little bit better, but okay. I remember that one actually. It's like the rock was already in place, and I guess it's just like running into it still triggered damage. It's like, okay. Which in retrospect, running into rocks probably would make that kind of damage. I don't know. Probably more realistic than I'm giving it credit for. And there's another thing that I learned through this first section of the level with this sword. It's, well, first off, timing the backstabs, because it's a different timing compared to the short sword one. And a different placement, at least it feels like it is. A Also, as far as movesets go, I feel like the overhand slash is actually faster. Or at least is more beneficial compared to like how much damage it actually does. And how much easier it is to roll back. I feel like with the regular swings, you're almost committed to just follow through. Oh shit. There's the wolves. That's another nice effect about such a big weapon is if you get surrounded, sometimes somebody behind you will get hit by the backswing, whether it was intentional or not. Oof. Gotta love that backstab animation with this thing. It is brutal. Now that's the type of shit that makes you feel powerful. I got lucky there that I had my shield up, because even though I got hit by the fireball, it wasn't as much damage because it's still mitigated. Which is interesting because I wasn't even looking straight at it, but I guess sideways still counted. But how tough these guys are, expect a lot of backstabs, because that's just the best way to get rid of them. Without using like magic and stuff. And there's our souls back. And we might die again. It's like I kind of stun locked him a little bit. Which was nice, but then as soon as he turned around, it's like even though I'm doing the same attacks, it just was not as effective at all. I remember looking at this and thinking, well, this is a perfectly good ambush spot. And then I realized, oh, well, Fat Boy was probably guarding the those. I called bullshit on that one, because, well, he really shouldn't have been able to get me through that. I backed away, but I guess I just didn't back away fast enough. This fucker's a lot stronger. It's like that backstab only did half damage. Could have sworn it did more than that. I think one of the big things that I learned from my first playthrough to the end, or I guess like through all the Souls games, is to always make sure to... Oh shit. So always make sure you don't fight like carelessly in middle corridors and stuff. Like try to pull them out best as you can, or at least use corners to kind of create blocking measures. And yes, I realize I didn't pick that item up. I do later on, but I think when I was going through the tunnel I was more worried about people popping out. And I kind of just, you know, had a little bit of tunnel vision. Oh shit. It's another one of those fat fuckers. And I think, yep, this is where I kind of had a bit of a eureka moment. It's like, you know, why am I going through all this? And like, fighting them on their own terms. So at this point, I was still trying to aim a headshot, which is kind of difficult because he keeps moving his head. And I'm not a good archer. And then I realized shooting him in the body is only a couple of damage points off. So like, what the hell am I sweating at? So, that worked very well. It's a lot cheaper to get arrows than it is to fucking get healing arrows. Try tactics. Why, yes, I did. And then I fell through planks anyway. Well, at least I got to get that item. And now it's just a real quick to just go all the way back around there. You know, if I don't confuse myself first. And now I picked that up. But see, eventually get around to it. I almost wish I had recordings back from my original Demon Souls runs, because I think the I'm trying to think of what the proper word is. Maturation of my experience as a not just a Souls player, but as a gamer in general. You can really see it through this playthrough. I'm still using the same tactics. I'm still the, you know, like the knight that doesn't really, you know, deviate a whole lot from his tactics. Also, as a quick aside, I don't know why, but so many summoners that got me into the game just would not use that lever, or that switch, whatever you want to call it. It's like we were going around in circles here, and they were just not hearing it. So I don't know if it was just like people that were super new and were not familiar with how, you know, Souls levels go. I mean, with how difficult this game is, it's easy to forget it's a launch game, but, you know, some people would not have touched a Souls game otherwise unless they had a PS5. Like, I'm really glad that they had it as a launch game, because I always felt like Demon Souls was, you know, the often ignored, often forgotten, you know, gem of the Souls series, and it is actually still my favorite out of all of them. Because I feel like the lore is a little bit sharper with this one. At least it made more, it fit with everything a little bit better. I liked the narrative of, you know, the country that's been lost in its own greed because of all the usage of souls and stuff. Dark Souls, I always felt that there's a lot of story there, but the overarching tale of what happened, you know, like what led to the kingdom or the state of affairs being as they are, was just not as, you know, Like, to me, it wasn't as compelling. It was trying too hard at some points. Like, okay, we did this for Demon Souls. Now we gotta ump everything. Like, here are these, you know, godlike beings that ended up going to war with dragons and all this stuff. Demon Souls was just like, yeah, fuckers got greedy, got corrupted by magic, now everything's all fucked. You know, go save the kingdom. Like, simple is sometimes better in my eyes. Which brings me back to my tactics. I don't do a lot of like fancy rolls, at least not yet, because my equip burden is still pretty high with all this heavy armor. But even then, I don't think I roll as much as some people do. I like the slow, heavy weapons. Because Dark Souls, well, sorry, Demon Souls and Dark Souls actually, a lot of the boss fights and enemies have patterns to them. Very specific patterns that you have to learn and master. So, I don't necessarily need weapons that can attack super fast. Because really, all that's going to do, because knowing my personality, so when I did that the first time, I was actually surprised how quickly that thing died. Because I remember those things being such a big pain in the ass, but I also don't know if I had a bastard sword at this point in the game in my original run. Oh yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so like Demon Souls and Dark Souls, like the boss fights are very, you know, unforgiving and punishing if you get greedy with your slashes and all that stuff. And I feel like that's always been a lot easier if you had short swords or any small fast weapons, because then there's the illusion that you have all this time to get all these hits in, and with less damage produced by a lot of those weapons, then it's a lot easier to go, well, I need to make these many shots before, you know, I back away. And I feel that that gets a lot of people, because then what ends up happening is the boss has enough time to, you know, recover and kill you while you're still getting slashes in. So having a weapon that's a lot more deliberate and slow helps me focus a bit more, so that I'm not stuck trying to get like 5 sword slashes in to get the same amount of damage. I can do 1 or 2 and then back the fuck off. Also, I think it was at this point where I was realizing, why am I not using the bone there? I mean, sure, I have to buy arrows, but then I don't have to buy healing items. Also, that just looks funny. Unfortunately, they're fire lizards, so it's not like that would have killed them. I mean, I can still kill them if I get through the fencing well enough. Yes, I realize I could have just done this, but there is something cool about watching your character in third person like fire an arrow. It's hard to deny that. Also, I'm trying to figure out, because I feel like this run is almost over. Because I remember quitting not long after this, but... Oh, I remember what I did. Also, realizing that these dudes will die from 2 arrow hits. It's a little bit of a revelation. Or at least I can pull them. So then I can do a quick backstab when they come by. Was nice. Well, not 2 air shots, but like 3. I'm pretty sure I ended up leveling the bow after this video, just to give myself a little bit more damage with it. Because... and I miss a lot. Yeah, I think it depends on where you hit them, actually. That and certain enemies seem to have a bit more HP. I'm not entirely sure what makes them different. See, there's something satisfying about that. I like my sword slashes, but these dudes have way too much, like, inherent armor. Ooh. You know what this reminds me of, though? It reminds, like, the way they move and the way they look. It reminds me of orcs, particularly the orcs at Helm's Deep. Because they're kind of like skinnier and lankier, if I remember correctly. In the way they run with that firebrand. This reminds me of the one that like blew up the fucking wall. And ran out of arrows. I mean, I have heavy arrows on me, but I only had like 3 of them, so I was like, yeah, I don't really want to waste that on them when one sword swing was going to be enough. At least for that guy. So, what's nice about killing these guys the first time through is all of that sweet, sweet loot that they have in their bags. Because I'm pretty sure that goes away after you've already killed them a couple of times. So here we go. So this actually leads to a shortcut at the front of the level. And I remember thinking, well, I'm gonna end this here. Because, you know, might as well. Like, if I was gonna go all the way into the boss area, that's just gonna make this into an hour-long video. And as it is, it's already got a lot of meat to it. I am personally almost glad that this is over, because there is nothing more exciting than watching yourself play a game. Because remember when I said I find watching people's videos of just pure gameplay, no commentary, to be boring? Well, it applies double when you're watching yourself play. At least in my opinion. Like, I can watch myself fight a boss. That's fine. Because the bosses in this game, and in a lot of, most of the bosses in the Souls game are really cool. And I love those fights. But moment to moment is very, like, solitary. Like, to me, it's a solitary experience. It's a slow, prodding experience.
I haven't seen you around these parts.
Look at the burns on his skin and the
What
welts.
does it matter? You need a blacksmith. Show me your steel. If not, head straight for the door.
Yeah, just me looking into what I can actually level up, because I remember not having a whole lot of things when I started this level, and the fact that I was able to pick some from the miners was really nice.
I'm busy. I'm not here to chit-chat. Forging a weapon strengthens it and alters its character. Ores are transmogrified spirits. Their presence blesses the weapon. Ores are transmogrified spirits.
Because I'm not here to chit-chat, but I'm gonna talk anyway. Alright. I want to at least do something.
All done. Then be gone. I work alone.
Well, fuck you too, guy. And I get it, this is a harsh world. I can't blame him for that at all. It's always crazy seeing these dead knights, and it's like, yeah, that's what my armor looked like, or at least how it looked like before I switched out. That's not a good sign. Alright. We are going back up. I'm trying to remember where I went after this, because I know the video doesn't really last much longer. Oh, yeah, now I remember. With all of the shortcuts I activated, I figured it was time to see about those fuckers throwing rocks. It's like making sure there wasn't anybody there. So we definitely need to focus. But yeah, one of the things I really love about the Souls game, and I think I've said this before, is I love how much it lends itself. It's like backstep away from that message. And I got super lucky there. Whoa. It's like I remember that guy's there now, but I could not remember for the life of me the first time I was there. So he genuinely did, like, scare the fuck out of me. So I was like, yeah, he's there. But that backside was so satisfying, especially for enemies like these guys. And it's all the more trickier because these guys are there. So it's like trying to backstab to maximize damage, but I also have this enemy right there. So I could really appreciate the invincibility you have while in, you know, the backstab animation, because that fireball just went right through me. Ultimately, it felt smarter to take care of this guy first before I did that other dude. It was just hard to get the timing of the backstab because you can find space. I got it. It's like when they die, there's that little bit of spark in their life that, you know, burns and then goes away. Which sounds poetic, but all I'm saying is I wasn't sure if there was loot. Also, I don't think there necessarily is a spark when they die. I think it might just be the lock-on cursor. Let's see what happens with this guy. No, there's a spark. I mean, it is a Souls game. And I guess that's their souls. Like, you know, with us claiming it. Making sure there's no loot left behind. And I'm pretty sure, yeah. We're going all the way down there to check out the loot that's on the ground. I would like to make a quick apology. Depending on how your screen looks, this game might not look like the best because of the lighting. Like, it looks harsh, but that's the HDR. Because, you know, like right now I'm not watching this from an HDR screen, and chances are a lot of people watching this aren't watching it in an HDR screen. So what I might end up doing is messing with it in Premiere for a little bit and kind of just making sure I get a little bit more color balance in. But I'm watching this through VLC while I'm recording the audio, but yeah. I feel like VLC doesn't always give me like 100% greatest video when I'm watching it. You know, when I'm watching one of the HDR videos. But in any case, I think I'm gonna leave it here. I think my character is basically just like running. I don't remember if I went all the way back to the Nexus, but I know this is where I called it quits because I'm not gonna do more with this video. Definitely did not want to what you call it. Definitely didn't want to get stuck trying that last fog gate and, you know, getting into a boss fight, because this video is already plenty long enough. Didn't really want to make our something long videos again. Kingdom Come Deliverance has just taught me that, you know, no matter the file size, just the fact that a video is just a sheer, you know, length, YouTube's gonna take forever to upload and process all that, which is fair. But anyways, sorry that we lost the original audio to this run, but appreciate y'all watching this. And the next video, I recorded the audio separately through my laptop and Audacity, so that should be a more inline commentary than what this was. But really enjoying coming back to Demon Souls, and I hope y'all are enjoying this journey with me. Thanks for watching, you guys. I'll catch y'all in the next one.